Welcome back to the POAS Desk. This is episode 30, the final episode of this series. Across the previous 29 episodes, we have covered the cost of POAs, who can be appointed, the four main types: remote notarization, bilingual, drafting, common rejection reasons, cancellation, overseas principals, validity periods, inheritance, multiple attorneys, substitution, minors, specific versus general powers, fee breakdowns, document, checklists, court-licensed entities, translators, apostille and consia attestation, and disputes. In this final episode, we bring the practical lessons together, the 5 most expensive POA mistakes we see, and how to avoid them. Mistake 1. Using the wrong POA type. This is the most common mistake and one of the most expensive. A POA, drafted as a general POA, submitted to the Dubai Land Department for a property sale. A property management POA used for a sale. A bank account POA from one bank used at another bank. Each rejection costs time, fees for redrafting, and missed transaction windows. How to avoid it. Start with the action, not the document. What does the attorney need to do? Once the action is clear, the right POA type follows. If you're not sure, ask the receiving authority directly what they require, or ask a provider who can confer before drafting. The verification before drafting is what makes the difference. Mistake 2. Cheap drafting that fails at the receiving authority. Some providers offer POAs at suspiciously low prices. The drafts use generic templates, do not verify the underlying details, and skip steps like proper translation or correct notarization. The principal saves on the upfront fee, but pays much more when the document is rejected and has to be redone. How to avoid it. Look at total costs, not just headline fee. Ask the provider what is included and what is not. Ask what happens if the document is rejected. A provider who cannot answer those questions clearly is not the right provider. The savings on a cheap POA are usually wiped out by redrafting fees, plus the cost of the time lost. Pay for proper drafting upfront. Mistake 3. Starting too late. POAs take time. Drafting takes a day or two. Notarization takes another day or two. Overseas attestation can take weeks. By the time the principal realizes they need a POA, the transaction may already be under time pressure. Rushing the process leads to errors. Errors lead to rejection. Rejection leads to delay. How to avoid it. Issue POAs in advance of the need. If you are buying or selling property, plan the POA at the same time you plan the transaction. If you're leaving the UAE for an extended period, issue the POAs before you leave. If you are appointing someone to manage your overseas property, do it when you make the decision, not when the first issue arises. Mistake 4. Underspecifying the powers. A POA that uses vague language to handle property matters or to act on my behalf in all things often fails when the receiving authority looks for specific powers the DLD wants to see. Specifically, that the attorney is authorized to sign the SPA, attend the trustee, and receive the title deed. Vague language is rejected. How to avoid it. Be specific. Even if a general power seems simpler, specific powers are what the authorities want. List the exact actions the attorney is authorized to take. Include the property details, the transaction type, and the relevant authority. Specificity costs nothing in drafting and saves everything in rejection. Mistake 5. Forgetting that POAs end. A POA that has expired is not valid. A POA whose principal has died is not valid. A POA that has been formally revoked is not valid. Trying to use a POA in any of these states is not just unsuccessful. It can be legally problematic, particularly if the attorney did not realize the POA was no longer valid. How to avoid it. Track expiry dates. Note when POAs end. If a POA is open-ended, decide whether you want to keep it active or formally revoke it when no longer needed. If circumstances change, a death, a relationship change, a relocation, review whether existing POAs should be revoked or replaced. Keep your POA portfolio current. These 5 mistakes account for most of the POA problems we resolve at POAs. Each is preventable with a small amount of forethought. The cost of prevention is small. The cost of cure can be substantial in fees, in time, and in transactions lost or delayed. If you need POAs, start at poas.ae. Fixed fees, no surprises, correct type, confirmed first. We handle property sale POAs at AED 2,199. Property management POAs at AED 2,199. Corporate POAs at 2,199. United Arab Emirates dirhams and bank account POAs at AED 1,999. Remote notarization for overseas clients is included. I'm Patrick. Thank you for joining me at the POA's desk. Thank you for listening to this series. We have covered more in 30 episodes than most people will need to know about POAs in a lifetime, but the depth is here when you do need it. The transcripts are available at conveyance.ae and poas.ae with the audio. Episodes hosted at transcripts.ae. If you take one thing from this series, take this. A POA is a legal document with practical consequences. Treat it that way. Choose the right type. Use a proper provider. Start early. Be specific. Track expiry. The rest follows from those 5 disciplines.